Welcome to Remote Production Conversations. The remote live production can be super beneficial for you. And you may not even realize all of the potential use cases and opportunities that might lie in front of you. So I've brought on my very special guest, my very good friend, Stephanie Liu, to talk about remote production. We're going to go over the pros and the cons, opportunities that are there for you that you might not be thinking about, how you can use it in your business. And we'll also talk about what it takes to actually be successful with your remote production, the best practices, the do's and the don'ts, all of that good fun stuff. Stephanie!
Hello, I'm here. I made it through our 10-minute workout. My thighs are burning.
If you don't know what we're talking about and you're watching the replay, we do a countdown timer dance because everybody enjoys that, right? Tim says, yes, team remote production. So Tim, if you have suggestions or tips of your own, I would love for you to put those in the comments as well. Let's make this a community project today. So first of all, let's get you introduced to Stephanie if you don't know her already. She is my co-host for the day. Stephanie is from Lights, Camera, Live, and I want you to describe all of that, but also the new series that you have coming up on remote production.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lights, Camera, Live is where we shine a spotlight on the best and brightest marketers in the industry, mostly leveraging live video to take your business from unknown to unfreaking forgettable because, hello, Ecamm gives you that possibility. And speaking of Ecamm, we are working on a new show. I know, another one. OMG. Oh, it's right there. So it's Showrunner Secrets from the Set to really talk about, when you're on your live streaming journey, you're doing the show for yourself. And eventually, people are going to start asking if you could produce a show for them. And then, what's the next level? Organizations, nonprofits, businesses are going to turn to you because now they see how amazing you are with your own show. And so what we're going to talk about in Showrunner is really how to set up your business, right? How to get those deals and lock it in, knowing all that you already know about Ecamm and producing a live stream show. So I'm excited.
And that kicks off on February 2nd, correct?
Yes, February 2nd. It's going to be a good time. Looking at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah, 2:30 p.m. So mark your calendars because it'll be fun. We're going to go through kind of like the evolution of the live streamer because wouldn't you agree that live streamers today are really high in demand as far as creating engagement online and using the skill set that you've acquired, right?
I got it right this time, by the way.
You did! That's probably like the third time that we've tried this. But yeah, it's one of those things where you've probably even seen this in the group too, where people are saying, hey, Ecamm might be expensive or whatever it is.
It's live video. We've got kids.
I know.
Welcome
we
all
do.
in.
I know. It's like, stop that. But it's one of those things where start thinking about how you can take live streaming on a whole nother level. It's not just your show. Now you could be doing live shopping. Oh my goodness. We didn't even talk about this. But yeah, you could do remote live video production on Amazon Live now. You could do live shopping for bigger brands. Like a couple of my clients are the high fashion brands. And so we're leveraging a platform that actually does live shopping that connects to their Shopify account. And we could give them real-time sales numbers as far as like, hey, you mentioned your product. It's all this. They just have to show up on camera. You handle everything else. So it's exciting. See, now I'm talking all fast because you always give me that 10-minute countdown.
And so before we keep moving into, all the opportunities that you can do, I want to mention, because somebody said, a couple people have said, oh, I love this production. It's so nice. Well, I thank you. But this is because of Ecamm Live, and that is what we use to produce this show. So this is Go Live Now, by the way. Wait for it. Go Live Now is the show that I do every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific to show you how to get the most out of your live streams, both within Ecamm itself from the software tech side of things, but also the strategy like we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So let's get into all of the opportunities that do lie in front of this audience to take hold of and use remote production. So you were mentioning, Amazon Live shopping and that kind of stuff. So dig into maybe things that people aren't really thinking about to utilize.
This is the fun part. So I think it was Caleb earlier that was like, I already have my notepad and my pen. I'm ready to take notes. I want you to start thinking outside of the box on how your remote live production can even extend outside of just producing a live show for someone else. So in 2019, I had the opportunity to work with several brands that wanted to do an annual shareholders meeting. They wanted to impress their investors and they didn't want it to just be a regular Zoom meeting, right? So think about how you can leverage Ecamm's virtual camera, create a run of show that has everything that talks about this is what we've accomplished in the past year. This is where we see ourselves coming up. This is how it's going to help you as a shareholder, and this is what you can foresee, right? And that was the part where my clients were like, wow, we've never seen this before. And so when you think about the capabilities that Ecamm gives you, the virtual camera into Zoom, or even Microsoft Teams and all those other things, it makes it really exciting. So that's one way. You may know an organization, a nonprofit that's doing annual shareholder meetings, or I've worked with tech companies where they have company town halls. How can you make the company town halls much more exciting, right? Then we've talked a little bit about live shopping. Live shopping, which I don't know about you, Lyra. Well, actually, you and I were just talking about this. I was like, Gloria, what should I upgrade for my studio? She's like, oh, get this, and this, and this. Yes. So we have some amazing content creators in the Ecamm group that are now leveraging Amazon Live. What if you already reached out to an established Amazon seller and said, hey, what if we actually took your product, did a product demo, got real live feedback from your audience, and you're like on one of the biggest shopping platforms out there. If you wanted to brand yourself as I am an Amazon Live producer, how many brands, how many sellers are on Amazon right now? Think about that, right? The other way, gosh, Lyra, you're gonna have to stop me because I'm like, there's so many different ways.
Yeah, keep going. I mean, and you guys, I want you all to really hear the opportunities and think, like, how can I adapt that concept to my business and to what I'm trying to do? But also, how are you all using it? Drop a comment in the comment. I hate when I say that. Drop a comment in the comments. What? Just own it. Drop a comment in the comments. Drop a comment in the comments. I need to add that as a sound effect in the Rodecaster Pro.
Yeah. So we talked about Amazon Live. There's also Facebook Live shopping. Right? There's a motorcycle outside. He totally agrees. He's like, oh, she's revving it up. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you. So Facebook Live shopping, going live into a Facebook event that ties in paid online events. This is perfect for, the yoga studios that are now trying to launch their own shows, but they're struggling with all of that. They want to figure out, how do I get the funnels, the payment processing system? How do I get people to RSVP? And when you tie in the marketing piece with the live streaming piece and the entire Facebook ecosystem, this in and of itself is like another show, right? And so in Showrunner, we're going to talk about all the different ways that you could do remote live video production. Other things that have happened is churches, organizations, gatherings online. So much you could do. I'm beyond excited. And I love that there's people in here like Tim Sohn who has been like my backup producer. Right? I'm like, hey, you want to spend a day with me? We're going to do a 13-hour live broadcast. And he's like, bring it on. I'm like, yes, let's do it. And it's one and done. We're good.
Yes. So you can make money doing it for others. You can make money doing it for yourself in your own business. You mentioned speakers. So there are lots of people.
Well, no, you and I spoke about speakers in the back room.
You didn't say that. Yeah. Sorry, I've been trying to fix some technical issues behind the scenes.
No,
so I assumed you talked about it.
Yeah, do your thing. If you want me to run through it, I can. So what I was telling Luria in the back room was even with all of these virtual conferences that are happening online, these event organizers, they're realizing, hey, I asked this person to speak at my conference back in 2020, but their video quality sucked. And what happens now is they're no longer invited to the event. And I think a lot of speakers are going to realize, holy crap, I need to level up my audio, my video, my staging, and all of that other stuff. And they're looking for remote live producers like you, who can give them that guidance about the lighting, who can help them out as far as recording their sessions. I can't tell you how many people are like, how do I record my screen? I was like, what? Come on down. We'll walk you through this, right?
Yeah.
And next month, Gloria, I'm actually remote live producing my brother-in-law's wedding. Think about that, right? So now it's, in the beginning, before the actual ceremony, when you would have, let's say, a video that shows all their baby photos when they were growing up.
Yeah.
That's a great way to have a run of show. It brings the family together because we have people in Taiwan that's going to be tuning in. There's so much possibilities here that the reason why Luria and I were like, we have to tell them. We have to tell them what all the amazing things that you could do with Ecamm. It's just a matter of like pulling it out of you and just writing it all down.
Yeah. So let me know if this is kind of opening up some ideas for you guys in the chat room. I see questions coming through about our production. I am happy to tackle that after we tackle this stuff. So make sure if you have questions, put a Q in front of your question. That way those get gathered on up so that I can see them and we can tackle them when the time is right. So, obviously, pros of remote production is everything that you just said, the opportunities and the ability to connect people, but also make money at it. You can also do this for somebody's virtual event, right? You can
Yes.
remote produce somebody's virtual event. We've done that in the past, and that's a huge possibility and opportunity this year as well. So those are some of the pros and the opportunities. Play the drinking game with the word opportunities. My goodness. But let's talk about the cons of remote production.
The cons of remote production, I mean, sometimes there are times when tech will fail you, right? I remember one of my good friends was putting on a virtual event and the whole internet just went down. And he was like, oh crap,
Yep.
what do I do? And I think that it's very helpful when you're doing these types of events to have a backup producer, just a backup producer. And it's also quite nice because with Ecamm, you have all of your graphics. You could export it, import it over to the next person, and boom, you're up and running, right? As far as cons, it's not necessarily a con, but I think it's more of an opportunity for you to highlight your expertise, right? When an event organizer is coming to you and saying, hey, we want the VP to hop on camera, and you meet the VP, and you're like, what is up with your background right now? That's when you have to
You're not on a beach.
Okay.
Dude, you're not on a
Yeah,
beach.
you're like, real talk. Let's talk about your gear and all of that other stuff. Don't be afraid to do that, right?
Yeah.
I find that some remote live producers, it's kind of like this limited mindset where they think they're just a scene switcher. They're just like, I'm just here to put on an overlay and switch the screen. And it's like, no. Remote live production is actually producing it from beginning to end. And also, if you have a marketing background like Luria and I, we could talk about pre-promotion, how to get people to show up and be excited about it, right? Before the show even actually starts. So that's an opportunity for those of you, like let's say Tim, who has the marketing background and can layer that into your packaging. See, we talk about everything.
Yes, that's a really good point. And also, a lot of CEOs want to be on camera and deliver the message for the event. And I have worked with a lot of CEOs in the past, and most of them are boring. Right?
Oh yeah. They're like, I will never show my hands, and it's like,
or
okay.
smile, or inflect my
it's
voice. Like it's
Are you a droid?
Yeah, right? Because, and I will say, them as people are great, but when they go into their role of delivering information, they're they've got a lot of pressure from them and the board, from their board and their company, and people who are like, you can't say this, you can say this, you have to say it this way. And so a lot of times that stiffness will create a bad experience for that production. And so you need to be good at suggesting maybe somebody else come in to fill that role of delivering a message, or as Stephanie was saying before, like hiring an MC or something to be able to direct it so that it's a good experience for the viewer. Because if you are being paid to do the remote production and it's a bad experience and no one enjoys that event, guess what? They're not going to do it again, and you're not going to get hired again. So
yeah, your reputation is on the line.
Yeah.
Really. And I think what's really helpful about that too is, even if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, okay, this production has now just gone out of scope or out of my depth, that's the beauty behind having the Ecamm Live community. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, okay, client wants to have 8 different camera angles, right? How am I going to mic this up and do all that other stuff? But you have Ken, Glenn, Katie, Caleb, the whole entire crew, and then they're like, oh, here's a case study that someone else has done before. And you realize, great, somebody has a gear guide and I could ask those questions. I think as long as you give yourself enough lead time, right? If you give yourself enough lead time, then you could sit down with that VP, that CMO, and just be like, let's get you first comfortable in front of the camera.
Yes.
Not on the day of, but factor that into your pricing, your lead time, and all of that other stuff. And also see if they want like amazing graphics like this.
Yeah.
Because they may have a graphic designer that's used to making brochures. Yay.
Very different. Very different graphics.
Very different from when you're doing a live show and you're expecting to captivate an audience from beginning to end. Exactly. And so think again of what you can offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you do need graphics to give or to use at an event, guess what? We have just that. Right here. So we do actually at Live Streaming Pros have graphics packages that you can get that serve the purposes of having a full production like what we're talking about. So you could do that. There are also people in the Ecamm community if you need custom graphics. The magical Mr. Paul Dixon, who does our graphics and everything in our store. Sometimes he's willing to take on one-on-one clients. He's very in demand. But yeah, so you have options, right? I want to tackle this. Corey says, what gear do you use for remote production? Corey, I did a video just for you Tuesday. I don't know what day it is. Tuesday on the Live Streaming Pros channel, I did a video all about tech for the virtual events, and remote production is this kind of the same thing, So like, if you have questions about that, I go from super simple setups to super pro setups. So watch that video. That'll help you tremendously, I think. And you'll also understand, because you were asking earlier about my setup, you'll also understand what my setup looks like. So, all right. He says, yay, I'm on it. Fantastic. Okay. Before we move on to some other topics, like what it actually takes to be successful with a virtual event, this stuff is the stuff you really need to hear, guys. But I also want to ask this question because I've seen a bunch of people ask this. How much do you charge? There must be a menu of pricing services. So this is always the question that comes up when we talk about remote production and actually selling that service. So do you have any guidelines that you like to share around that?
Yeah, I usually break it down into how many hours this is going to factor into, right? So we have a calculator on our side, and it's how many people are involved in this actual production. Someone else was asking this. It's like, what if there's like 8 people? It's like, well, that's probably going to be 8 tech rehearsals to make sure that every single one of those people are set up correctly, right? And so for us, whenever we're planning an event, we're putting into the calculator of how many tech rehearsals do we have to do, right? How long is the actual broadcast itself? are there any add-ons that we need to consider, such as, are we doing bumper videos? Are we doing the overlays? Are we doing the graphics? And then these are like other add-ons as well. Are we repurposing the show? Like all my marketer friends that are watching are like, I didn't even consider that. Yes, are you repurposing the show?
Yep.
Are you going to give them an HD recording? All of that.
Are you going to edit it after the fact, right? So that's a very big thing for the events that we've produced in the past, is that there might be some tech issues, and you want to factor in editing services to make sure you take out those tech issues or delays, pauses, right? You could provide, or they could provide as a ticket upgrade, a replay package, and that replay package could remove all of the countdowns, the breaks, all of the things that go on in an event.
Yeah, and like let's also even consider that sometimes you may need to have a pre-recorded video just as a backup, right? So Lori and I had that joke of someone like, he was on the beach. Why are you on the beach when you're supposed to be doing a session right now?
Yeah.
Right? And so when a client is already working with you, right? When a client is already working with you and one of their main stakeholders wants to do a pre-recorded video, they're most likely going to ask you. And you could easily do that through Ecamm. Just give them the guest link, boom, hit the record button. You could guide them through the process. And Lori, you probably already know this, but you'll have speakers that say, does it look like I'm reading? Yes, you're reading. I'm reading right now. You just fell asleep on camera.
That's funny. Yes. And that kind of sets us into, did we answer so we basically answered the pricing. I mean, it depends on how much your time is worth. There's no set industry standard across the board because it depends on your experience, things like that, right?
Yeah, I would also even say if someone says to you, oh, I know this is last minute. Oh, that's PETA tax. Pain in the ass tax.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to keep it simple, and you're going to get a PETA tax.
Mm-hmm. And they will come to you, and they will expect the world for last minute productions. And that's going to put so much stress on you, and it's going to open them up. You need to, and kind of going into best practices, like if they do come to that, you need to be very clear that if you are going to be running a last minute event, first of all, there's the extra upcharge, but more tech issues will absolutely arise, and that's not your fault. That's theirs for coming to you so late. You need to have the, authority in this situation to say, this is the deal. Like, you came to me late. I'm going to do everything I can to save the day. Don't say those words. But, there will be more tech issues because of this, because we haven't had time to test. We haven't had time to do and set everything up and go through the proper procedures. So, you have to also know if you want to take last minute things. Because once you do one, you're like, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, there was one where it was a 13-hour live broadcast, and I knew for sure, Larry, I was like, I need a second live producer because homegirl needs to eat, and I need to use the bathroom like I'm a human being.
Yes. Yes.
So when you're looking at the run of show 2, just be like, someone's going to need to use the bathroom at like hour number 3.
Yeah. This is funny. Yeah. Stephanie, I know we go live in 5 minutes, but can we add 20 more guest speakers? And that's actually a really good best practice. Know when your cutoff date and time is for making changes, and be ultra clear with your clients about those changes, because I guarantee if you don't do that, they will add and add and add and add, change and change and change and change, because these things are not nailed down for them, and so their team is coming up with ideas, and they're like, what if we could do this? Or once they see what you can do, they're like, ooh, what if, or, oh, this thing may not feel right, so we want to make a change. You have to have a cutoff date.
Have to have a cutoff date and enough lead time to buy whatever gear that they need to. Oh yeah, because you and I were joking about, like, if you can't spend $10 on an Ethernet cable, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, go into talk about that a little bit more in depth. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you have your tech calls with your clients and they try to tell you, oh, I have Wi-Fi, it works great on Zoom. That's where you have to draw the line and you say this is what separates the amateurs from the pros. And if you're going to be investing in this production, I want you to be able to, and you list all the benefits. I want you to be able to repurpose this, use it into a Facebook ad. I want you to share this out into your emails, to your employees, to your shareholders, all of that stuff. And that's when they realize for $10 for an Ethernet cable, freaking do it. I know, like in 2019, when I started to realize that live streaming, like, okay, this is a part of the business, I was like, husband, we are getting fiber internet. That was like, that's what I wanted for my wedding anniversary, which is probably like the geekiest thing. I was like, he's like, what do you want for our anniversary, babe? I was like, fiber internet? Like, and then when the guy came, I was like, welcome to my humble abode. And then it's like, and then he plugged it in. I was like,
the heavens opened.
yes.
Yes. Yeah, you have to have great internet. And somebody asked, like, how are you bringing guests into Ecamm? Well, the Ecamm has a special feature just for that purpose. It's called Ecamm Interview. And I have a video that goes in depth all about how to set it up. I also have a separate video that you can send to your guests so they know exactly what buttons to push on their end. I thought that was really, like, smart of me.
That is smart of you. And actually, when you're doing your event production, we didn't even touch this yet, but like, how do you make sure that your clients are successful? And so if you do something like what Luria does by giving them an onboarding video, right? Of like, this is how the studio is going to look like. This is usually done in your tech rehearsal, but they may forget. If you have like a guide, a deck, or whatever it is going to be, it says, this is the button, how to mute yourself.
Yes.
Right? That's going to be helpful. Or, hey, I want you to connect via the Chrome browser. We want you to connect your preferred, camera settings and whatnot. Having a guide for that is really going to help you in making sure that the setup for it is smooth and seamless, and you come off as a pro, right? Because if you're trying to troubleshoot as you're doing the tech, like, oh, last time I tried this, it was like this. They're going to be like, do you know what you're doing?
And I would say also a best practice for speakers, if you're going to be, doing some of this stuff, remote keynoting, things like that, you need to test the different platforms that different people are using. Because not all of them work the same. Not all of them allow Ecamm to come in as a virtual cam very well. So you need to make sure you're testing way in advance and working out those solutions to those problems.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember the one that Entrepreneur had, because for like 2 weeks I was with their dev team. I was like, we need to make this. Oh, it was like Citrix, something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, never again. I will use it.
Yeah.
I was like, I would do a webinar for you, but first tell me what platform. And then they tell you the name. You're like, no. Because Luria and I have a style, right? A production value that we want to come across. And it's not going to be just a straight up Logitech. Hell no. No to the no.
Oh, yes. Okay, so questions. Any other best practices that you can think of that you want to before we jump into questions?
Yeah, I would say best practices is, again, when you're having the discovery call, ask questions. What are they envisioning? Have they actually seen your shows before? Do you actually have a video reel of all the different types of productions that you've done? Because then that will give them an idea of what you could actually produce for them. So ask questions. The second piece would be, are you going to help them with the run of show? And I would say, as the producer, please do.
Yes,
because
they don't know what they're
you'll
doing.
want to see, you'll want to see how they're setting up the show, how many people are in the green room, what needs to happen, who's carrying on the energy, right? Because when you meet the actual person, you're like, okay, real talk. Like, we need an MC to go in there. I know in the past we've actually hired local news reporters that were familiar with the organization, and they're like, yeah, absolutely, I would love to be a part of it. And they're just so polished, because sometimes you'll have tech issues that happens, right, Luria? And when you have someone like a reporter, an MC, someone who is polished, they'll know, like, okay, I just need to like ad lib for a little bit longer and then it's going to work. So having the run of show, whether it's written out or even a storyboard, I find the storyboards are usually helpful when I'm working with CEOs because they could actually see it. I'm like, this is how the overlays are going to look like, right? Yep. And then they're starting to see it, have your rehearsal, and if someone, right, if someone doesn't follow your advice, then you're always going to say, okay, that's your decision. These are the consequences. And if it happens, you don't want to wear headphones? You don't want to wear headphones? Okay. Right? This is what's going to happen. And boom.
Well, there are some things that I would say you just don't let happen. Like say, I have said to a client, I will not run this production if you choose to do X, Y, Z. Or if you choose not to do X, Y, Z in more cases than, right? Like,
draw the line.
That's a line for me. No, I'm not, because it won't be good. It won't be good for you. It won't be good for the audience. It won't be good for me because you're going to blame me. So that's, we have to draw lines when we're being paid to do things. This is a great tip. Gary, yes, clean lens. Make sure that they are using a clean lens. I love that tip.
Dude, you can even send them a branded lens cloth. That's game changer. So every time they're gonna do like a media interview, they're like, "Oh, here's my Luria cloth." That sounds weird, but here's my lens cloth, and they're like, "Oh, thank you, friend." Yeah, they connect the idea of them being on camera to you, so it's a great way. Yeah.
Oops, hold on, wrong one. Thank you so much for the super chat. Excellent tips. Woohoo! I don't know if my super chat is on today. Oh, I missed the opportunity for you to have Abby petting going on. I don't know what happened to my super chat all of a sudden. Okay.
Oh, when we did this.
Yes. Now other people are doing that, by the way. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I started a trend.
Yes,
you could actually create like a GIF where it shows all your different guests where they're all just like petting Abby.
That would be hilarious. So before we go into the rest of the questions, Stephanie has a brand new series coming up on remote productions. Tell them about it once more, and then I'm going to gather questions.
Absolutely. So Showrunner, Secrets from the Set, is all about how you could have a successful remote live video production. And so we're going to be talking about how to make sure that your run of show is successful, how to work with clients. We'll talk about opportunities, different ways that you could leverage Ecamm to produce these amazing events, and answer your questions all along. So we kick off next week on Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. The date is February 2nd. Is that right? I'm sure it's right.
Yes, I believe it is.
P.S. by the way, my headphones just said that the battery might be dropping, so I just wanted to give you a heads up just in case I need it.
Okay. If you do, then I'll cover for you, or we'll wrap it up. Mm-hmm. Patrick, for live events like weddings, do you find that not only you have to take care of the online production, but also the live production or the in-person production as well, budget concerns and the amount of people at events?
For that, so the wedding that I'm doing in February, it's kind of the same thing as far as like a run of show, right? I have to know what's the venue, what's the tech behind it, how important does this person have to be on camera, what's your lighting setup going to look like, right? What's the audio going to be? So I find that there's more time involved with that because it's a special event, especially now, right? When we're so used to being together, and now you have to have family watching from like a different continent. And so be patient, because the bride, the bride and the family that's already planning this is already in a state of mind. And I think for you to have that flexibility in your communication and that empathy to guide them through that process, as long as you're keeping them confident that this is doable, you're going to win them over.
Yeah. And like Rob is saying, it depends on if they have an on-site wedding planner, it depends on what's happening over on that end. Let's see. Paul says best snacks during remote production, like when you're running it. So what are the best snacks that you have on hand?
I would say anything that could go into like a smoothie, because I could just like sip it, because You know, if you're trying to crunch, 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 and you forget that you're
Yeah.
muted, they're like, what is going on right now?
Speaking of that, I do have a video where I talked about remote production from a software perspective. So like, you know, you guys are asking about overlays, and that's one of the things is that I like take me completely out of the output, right? So like you'll never hear me, you'll never see me. That kind of thing is important from a software perspective. So I have that video, and I'm sure our mods are linking to that right now. I forgot to tell you guys that ahead of time, sorry. But yeah, remote production from a software perspective is a perfect complement to this video to make sure that you guys are not making those types of mistakes where you are chomping. Do you set up breakouts? Laura wants to know if you're going to Zoom.
Oh, no. If we're talking about conferences,
yeah.
For me personally, I haven't done it because I'm not in charge of what happens in the breakout rooms, because technically I'm not really doing any productions in it, if that makes any sense, and it's not being recorded, especially if it's on Zoom. I'd love to hear what you have to say, Luria, and while you do that, I'm going to go grab something.
Go for it. Okay, so I'm going to mute her, and sorry, I didn't put myself in Do Not Disturb. So what I will say about breakout rooms is I'm actually, earlier this week I was talking about Barry and Blue's live training on events. So they run like virtual events. They have the virtual event on virtual events going on right now. And I was just on that training right before I jumped onto this stream, and I'm going to be going back there. But yeah, that's happening right now. So you might have missed it if you might have missed a lot. I don't know if you can still sign up for it, but they have like a full-on strategy, and if you want to learn more about that, I do have a video with where I interviewed Blue, where he is kind of going through the strategy of why they use breakout rooms and all of the different things about running a successful virtual event. And so like I would say running a virtual event, a successful virtual event, and remote production while they're connected potentially. If you're running the virtual event, it depends on how much control you have of the strategy and the processes and the show flow of that virtual event. So they may be two separate things, or they may be connected. It just depends on how you're running that, what your client needs, et cetera, et cetera. So I am using Restream just for simulcasting. So I use Ecamm Live for production, running the overlays, all of that good fun stuff, but Restream is doing the simulcasting part of that. Okay, lots more questions coming through. Are you good to go, Stephanie, or you still need some time? Okay.
I'm good, yeah.
What cameras are you using now, both of you? So Montang? I'm sorry, I'm so screwing your name up. I'm sorry. I'm using a Sony a6100 with a Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. You can find all of my links at livestreamingpros.com/GLN for Go Live Now. Stephanie, what are you using?
I have a Lumix GH5, and I'm looking at it. Don't mind me. I think it's a 35mm lens. It was I was watching Sean Cannell, who you know, right? We love and adore Sean. Yes. And so I was like, I want to look like him. And I was like, let's do that.
He loves the GH5. Now that Canon has come out with the ability to connect via USB, that is super helpful. Previously, with some of the Canons, you had to hack them a little bit. Just be aware that connecting via USB instead of a capture card can lower that quality a little bit. So capture card is definitely the way to go. Okay, bad dinner guest. Can you discuss how you handle remote green room? Does Ecamm have a feature like StreamYards? Yes. I would highly encourage you, because I don't want to do like a full demo. We don't have time for that. But I have a video all about how exactly to run Ecamm interviews. So if we can put that link in the description, that would be great. And bad dinner guest, I would highly recommend you just go watch that because I walk you through everything you need to know about it. Are all of your live streams for clients remotely produced now due to COVID? If so, I try not to say that for potential of demonetization. If so, do you ladies consult them on gear or just use their own setup? I run into most corporate peeps who have low grade gear and bad lighting.
Oh, yeah. So is the question, are we now doing that for...
do you consult them on gear?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
God. Yeah. It's a funny thing because this is what happened on LinkedIn. There was this viral post where it was showing this CMO who was on a big network channel. And someone had posted, "Dear PR team, you do not put your CMO on one of the largest networks out there looking like this. Like, what are you doing?" And I was like, holy snap. Like, that's so true, right? Because if you were a marketing agency, a PR team, and you knew that your client was going to do a media interview, even a podcast interview, you send them that. You know, I was like, you send them that, because if you are booking your clients for these big major PR opportunities and they don't look good and they don't sound good, that's on you.
Yep.
You know, that's on you. Do they want to book your client again? Probably not. Right. So even if you were, let's say, a speaker agent and you're trying to land gigs for your speaker clients, and you know, like, oh, client, you don't have the best setup, do yourself a favor, because you're going to get an ROI in giving your client the tools that they need. I know for you probably do this too, Luria, but with our clients, we gave them a Logitech Brio. I was like, welcome to the team. Here's a Logitech Brio and here's a USB mic. And when we first started doing that back in 2016, they were just like, oh, you know, thanks, nice. And then when happened last year, when happened last year, yeah, they were like, oh my gosh, this is so handy. And again, kind of like the lens cloth that we talked about earlier, now that feeling of confidence of being on camera is now anchored to you and your business, and it's game changer. Yeah, do that.
And you could either just gift it. You could also, if budget is tight for you, and you're not charging enough, then you could have a kit or a couple of kits that you send and request back. The problem with that is you may not get it back.
That's true. Yeah. One thing that I was successful in convincing the operations team was just get the basic gear set up. And if your employees are comfortable, they could go down to the office and they could check it out. Check out the gear. Yep. And then when they return it, sanitize it, do whatever it is that you have to do, and then you're good to go. But at least it's the same gear, and you could have like the gear guide, the onboarding stuff that Luria just talked about, and it goes with the package.
Yep. Do you use some kind of soft skin filter? No, Stephanie is just that gorgeous.
What?
She just comes out that gorgeous. And I'm embarrassing her.
Yeah, you can take me off the camera when you do that, Luria.
But no, the look and feel of your videos are all about the gear that you choose, and you know, you don't need to use soft filters. And in fact, I don't recommend that because they come out looking really fake oftentimes. So choose the right gear, and you're in the settings in that gear, and you're gonna be able to, you know.
Can we talk about filters? I once had a client who did want to use the makeup filter, and then in Snap Camera there's a hotkey, and she accidentally hit a hotkey and she turned herself into a potato. And so in the back channel we're like, "Excuse me, ma'am, you are a potato." And the whole comments was like, "What is the potato? Like, where did the potato come from?" And I was like,
oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
I was like, this is the best annual shareholder meeting ever. We just put a potato live from Canada. It was brilliant.
That's awesome. And if you are curious about the gear and everything, that is exactly what I teach in our workshops. So if you want a link to our workshops, you can find that in the description and in the comments to help you choose the right gear. But oh my God, that is the best story.
Can we have a potato show? Can one day you and I just show up as like potatoes?
Yes,
like,
please.
Welcome to the potato show.
What say you guys? Let us know. Would you want that? Okay, that story is going to be
Potato Luria, potato stuff. Yeah.
Oh, everybody needs to know about the potato problem. Totally.
Hashtag potatoes.
Okay. Let's see. I think we've answered. So somebody asked how to get more info on Showrunner. So Showrunner, which is Stephanie's series coming up on remote production, will be February 3rd. Sorry, I thought it was the 2nd. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We're both bad. And we have a link that I'm sure they've dropped in the comments already. It'll be on the Ecamm channels that you can follow Ecamm on any channel you want. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever.
All the things. All the things. Yes.
All right. Just a couple more questions. Thank you, Altcan. What are some interaction tools that can be used with the audience? I like quizzing ones like Kahoot or Gimkit. What others can be used?
First of all,
I'm excited to answer this.
Oh, yeah, because I love the fact that she mentioned Kahoot. Because my daughter and I just did a unicorn virtual escape room. I know this sounds ridiculous, but it was so much fun. Yeah, because she would unlock puzzles and challenges, and then the unicorns can escape and be ready in time for the birthday party. But they used Kahoot. So again, these are like different things that you could do even in education, right? And birthday parties for kids. How can you make it fun and exciting? So I've heard of Kahoot. I absolutely love it. When I was looking at my phone earlier, it's because one of my friends uses Mentimeter, MENTI meter. And what happens is that they could text their answers to a specific phone number, and then when they have a slide in their presentation, right, which you could share on Ecamm, it'll show how people are voting. So I actually really like that functionality. The only caveat with that, and Luria, I'm sure that you'll agree, is that depending on where the destination is, right? Like if it's for a company, then they're probably going to be watching it on a desktop. But if they're watching it on their phone, then you're asking them, okay, get off of Facebook and open up your Messenger. And then you're like, what happened to my views?
Yeah.
So those are a couple of good ones that I've seen.
Think through that a little.
How about you?
Yeah. Crowd control games and virtual buzzer are a couple of interaction games that I learned from Barry and Blue yesterday, actually.
I just saw someone leave a comment called Spud Runner.
By the way, thank you, Einar, for the super sticker. I like that it was a hot dog with ketchup. Now I'm hungry.
Yay!
Now I'm hungry. So Kombucha says Brightful is another place for online interactive games. We used, when was this? Caleb, when did we use Wheel of Names recently? We just used recently Wheel of Names, but that's more for like raffles and giveaways and prizes and things like that. But depends, like that should be a part of an event or some streams. It depends on what you're doing. So don't be weird. don't be weird. Don't clip that, Caleb. Okay, Ryan. I've already answered that. Chaz, how do you recommend or to train presenters to interact with live questions? I'm using StreamYard based on your recommendation to get started. What say you?
Interesting. Let's also talk about generational gaps too when it comes to technology.
Yep.
Because sometimes when I'm working with these executive teams, when I say like, open up a tab, they're like, what? They're like, I'm not at a bar. I'm like, not that kind of tab. So we try to make things really easy in the sense that if there are questions that are coming through that we want to highlight and we don't want the speaker to get distracted by all the things, we'll have a back channel where it could be on the phone where we just send them the questions, or we have a Google Doc. It's just like, you're just going to have the camera on you and then a Google Doc, and then you'll see like what questions we want you to focus on. So I think that's been very helpful in keeping them focused. I think also having the tech rehearsal is going to be really helpful for them to, get Post-it notes, whatever. They're probably like 99 cents. Just like, look at the camera, and simple things like, okay, if they don't want to get a teleprompter, maybe if they could get like a Word doc and just move it up towards the screen and like maybe in the middle or off to the corner. So they're like, oh yeah. And that's what I wanted to share with you. So it looks natural, because when it's down here, it's, good night.
Roger. So we're not talking about you, Roger. But I think that you could do that. You filter through a Google Doc, or you could have a moderator who is asking the questions so that person never even has to look at questions, or and then also a good guideline to understand what you need to do with that person. I would not bother training them to look at comments or interact with the audience. I would do either what Stephanie says or what I said with a moderator if they're not going to be good at it already. And a guideline to know whether they're going to be good at it or not already is if they're already streaming. Yeah. Have they done streams? Have they connected with the chat room? Yeah. If they haven't ever done a stream before and they've just done videos, then don't rely on it. Don't worry about training them. They've got enough on their plate. Just filter it in a different way.
I'll say the fun thing about when you're doing the production, not the fun thing, but it's more like it may happen. But there are times where you have to be the voice of God, right? Yeah. And so have fun with that. Change your voice and be like, attention, this session will self-destruct in 10. When the speaker's mic isn't working.
Yes.
Attention, your mic is muted. Please unmute. Like, that's so much more fun than like, hey, you're muted. Hey,
Yeah, totally. Yes, have fun with it. Great advice right there.
Attention, you are a potato. Can you please unpotato yourself?
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, I think those were the questions. I don't think we missed any. So you guys, make sure you're watching for Stephanie's Showrunner series coming up soon. And if you have questions about, other things as well, remember I have a video about the software setup. I don't think you're going through the software on that series, are you? Or are you? You might be.
Sorry, say that again. I was reading the comments.
What do you do? Question. What do you do when your guest isn't paying
anytime
any
I see a
attention
potato
to you?
when I saw the potato in the comment, I was just like, what is the potato again? Sorry, say it again.
I don't even remember. I was asking.
Got distracted by potato.
Yeah, so I was mentioning that I have that video on software. I didn't know if you were going into software on your series as well, like software.
Yeah,
setups.
we'll most likely go into Ecamm just to show. When you're producing the actual event. And I like showing clients, this is how it's all set up in Ecamm. Yeah. This is how we're going to switch scenes and all that other stuff. And even when you're doing an event, if you're also live streaming, how do you still organize that without like completely mucking up your original show?
Yes.
That's always nice to have, yeah.
Indeed. The potato can use skin smoothing. There you go.
I feel like someone is going to make a graphic. I don't know. The Ecamm group, they crack me up because they're fast with their memes. My goodness. If there was like Potato Luria and Spud Stephanie all of a sudden, I'm like dead.
You just asked for that. You realize that, right?
Clip this.
How dare you? Oh, that would be hilarious. February 3rd, kicking off at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, correct? 2:30 p.m. Pacific?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yep.
Which one? Pacific
right after
or
kindergarten
Eastern?
for me. 2:30 Pacific.
Okay.
Yeah.
2:30 Pacific. February 3rd on the Ecamm channels, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, your choice. And the show is smothered and covered. I don't even know what that means.
We have to do a parody now. Like, we have to. We have to. Yes. We look forward to the potato parody coming soon. Coming soon to a TV near you. To a monitor near you. Okay, we're going to wrap this show up because this is going offhand. Please peel your microphone. Oh, what if your microphone was this? Okay. We have to keep our integrity, Luria. I know you and I can geek out about potatoes all day long.
We can. Oh, you guys, thank you so much for being here, Stephanie, and geeking out with me and laughing with me, as always. And thank you all for joining us today. If you haven't put your dancing shoes on, now is the time, because if you are new around here, we dance this baby out, because what other way to end a show than to dance it out? We begin it dancing, we end it dancing. So, are you guys ready? Stephanie, you've got it?
Yes.
You've got your dancing shoes on?
We're going to do the mashed potato. Who is this in the comments?
I don't even know what the mashed potato is.
The mash.
You're going to have to teach me the mashed potato. Okay. All right. We are going to dance in 3, 2, mashed potato. Here we come.